Kishvarda was a small town in Hungary with a population of only 20,000. Yet it stands out in my memory as a very sophisticated city, with visiting opera and theater companies, masquerade balls for the rich, cafes in which to while away the time trying to sound clever and worldly, auto racing and horse racing, barons, princes, and rich landowners with their high-class manners and designer clothes pranced around town in their fancy carriages. These aristocrats put their stamp on the town. Main Street in Kishvarda, St. Laszlo Utca, I remember, smelled of French perfumes when I used to accompany my mother to the marketplace. The aroma would fill my nostrils as I'd watch my mother feel the force-fed geese to see if they were fat enough to nourish her 6 growing children, her bright, handsome, sensitive kids who would one day go out in the world well prepared by a mother whose intelligence and enlightenment were legendary, and whose social conscience earned her my title, the poor man's Mrs. Roosevelt. An avid reader, my mother marched her 6 kids off to the library every Friday to borrow the maximum number of books allowed to us, which she herself would devour before they had to be returned. And when my mother would buy fish for the Sabbath or holidays, she was incapable of throwing away the newspapers the fish were wrapped in before reading the smelly sheets first. And I remember Tetsa, the gypsy, who used to come around to cast her sad eyes at my mother every day. Her source of sadness was always the same. "My children are hungry, ma'am." And ma'am would invariably fill Tetsa's potato sack with whatever she could spare, and anyone happening by at mealtime would automatically be invited to dine with us. "There will be enough. I'll put a little more water in the soup." But mostly I remember the conversations my mother used to have with the many adults who came to visit us from other parts of Europe. Business people, friends, relatives. The 6 kids stood around drinking in those very big words, those very big subjects. Politics, art, books, and always man's inhumanity to man. Sometimes I was resentful. Must she care about everyone in this world? Look at me. Praise me. I want to be the most important. Why do you care so much about so many things? But now, so many years later, I say, thank you, Mother, for being what you were, for trying to develop me in every way. Kishvarda was just a little town. It's where I began, where I yearned to be away from. I didn't think I could take a large enough breath there. Yet the memories of my teens are crowded not only with teen pains, but also with precious hours spent with dear friends, in a house so alive with interests, thoughts, activities, conversations, dancing, playing, and falling in and out of love that my house, the whole town, seemed to be bursting apart. But there were other things too, bad things. I cannot count the times I was called a dirty Jew while strolling down Main Street hungry. Sneaky whispers, dirty Jew. No, smelly Jew. That's what I heard even more often. Anti-Semitism, ever since I can remember, was the crude reality. It was always present in the fabric of life. It was probably so everywhere, we thought, but surely so in Hungary, most certainly in Kishvarda. They really hate us, I would think. It certainly felt that way. You couldn't hide from it. You couldn't run from it. It was everywhere. It was thinly veiled, when it was veiled at all. It was just under the skin. It was hard to live with, but we did. We knew no other way. Each Heil Hitler speech on the radio made things worse, and such speeches were on the radio constantly. Not many people understood German in my part of Hungary, but the radio was blasting away Hitler's speeches, and the frenzy of the incessant Heil Hitlers made the Hungarian Gentiles feel a camaraderie, a oneness with the mad orator. It also made us Jews cringe in the very depths of our souls. It made us fear the people with whom we had shared this town for generations. What could we do? Give us a patch of earth that is free of anti-Semitism. We were afraid. Our neighbors, we knew, would be Hitler's willing accomplices when the bell would toll. And the bell tolled. On Monday morning, May 29, 1944, the ghetto was evacuated.